Hey everybody, welcome to Get Better Art Stream. Um, I'm Sam. This is Zach. We do a podcast. It's called Get Better, and over the course of the podcast, we made up a fake comic book based on canceled NBC shows. It's honestly just go to our YouTube channel and look up the Saving 1984. I'm not trying to plug. I'm just saying like it's going to be very complicated. It's going to be confusing otherwise, but or it
Well,
doesn't matter.
we can explain a little bit of it as
So
we're
we're
going
doing an art
through.
stream. I have been workshopping it for a
Mm-hmm.
while. This sort of concept. You're seeing Marilyn Monroe right now as well. And so Zach and I are going to talk about it. Also, if you're a longtime fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is Jennifer. We're talking about Jennifer Sliptier, my favorite of
Yeah.
uh, our secret comic book projects. So anyway,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for the uninitiated, Jennifer Slept Here is as Sam said, it was a show that came out in 1984 on NBC that was canceled after one season. It is a part of a slew of shows that basically the entire uh, slot of shows in 1984 were all
every
canceled.
original
And
show
on,
that
yeah,
premiered that season, 83 to 84, every original show got canceled. So if it was on its second season, it was fine,
yeah.
but every other show had gotten canceled. That it was a total wash.
And on our show, we rewrite them, and against our better judgment, we did do a collective universe. But that's not what we're going to be discussing right now. We'll just be discussing one of them, our favorite of our rewrites, which is Jennifer Slept Here, a show which I honestly get a little confused as to what we came up with and what the actual show is about. As far as I remember, Jennifer Slept Here was a show where it was like a classic sitcom where it was a ghost and a kid, and they were just two buddies. Jennifer was trying to find out how to, I don't know, die or go to the afterlife or whatever, and the kid was just a kid. And Yeah, we wrote that to have a bit more supernatural connotations, and yeah, again, kind of building into this bigger universe. But yeah, Jennifer Slept Here is I haven't seen one episode of it, but if you listen to our show on our YouTube channel at Get Better Podcast, where you can find the our conversation about Jennifer Slept Here, you'll know more about it than me because I completely forgot.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's funny to me because I have never stopped thinking about this show since we like did the episode, and I forget that you have not, of course. Like, why would you? And so, like, when you were like, I don't remember what we did, I was like, well, shit, I've been thinking about it, but I don't actually think any of that was in the episode. So, like, I've just I've just been like,
Ooh,
because
oh
what we did as our
no.
like actual idea was it was New Girl, because
Mhm.
the original show is I Dream of Jeannie,
Right.
but it's a ghost. And then our version was New Girl, but it's a ghost, or like a house full of ghosts. I think we got rid of the kid, and it was like, nah, she just lives in a ghost house.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's what was holding the entry point character. That's what was
yeah,
holding
yeah,
the
yeah.
show
The
back.
the audience surrogate is why it really failed.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We need to get rid of
which
that
I'm glad I
guy.
warmed up. This is a much better head than the one that you saw in the warm up.
They
Uh,
they did not have an entry point character in Dune, and
hey,
look at that.
I just watched
It's
Dune like yesterday, and that shit. I don't know if we're gonna do
uh-huh.
an episode Dune Energy 2 or Dune Energy the movie, but like that shit rocked. Um,
That's great. I'm very excited. You're the only person I know that's read Dune, and
it's a good book.
you were already thinking it wasn't going to kind of deal or like with the themes or kind of capture the essence
Correct.
of
I
the
thought it
book.
was an
So,
unadaptable
I mean,
movie, and I will tell you right now, I was wrong. There is an unadaptable book, and I was wrong. It is
mhm.
quite good.
The way to adapt it, apparently, from what I can tell, is just to put it all
Put
in.
all of
Just
it.
put it all in, even the weirder stuff.
Anything in the
Yeah,
whole book, just put it all in. Which is what they did. I mean,
yeah.
it is what they. I was telling Sophie what they lacked in like text, like what wasn't in the book. they made up for in vibes. I was like, there's so much in the book about how much they really, really do need water. Like, it's a big deal how much water they need, and they spend a lot of time talking
Hmm.
about it. And they just make, and they don't really spend that much time in the movie, but they make up for it in vibes, where they're like, oh, you get the vibe.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is so hot. I saw this picture, and it was the picture of like their base on Arrakis, and it just said someone says had a picture of it and it said, "I miss living in Phoenix."
Well, I know what's funny is, and this is also not in the movie, but well, this part is that I'm about to say. They're from this planet called like Caldera or something, and uh, a
Hmm.
big part is like Lady Jessica, who's the mom, talking about like, damn, I miss it in Caldera, where it was like everything's covered in water, and there's all these waterfalls, and it's always raining, and like, it's the complete opposite of Arrakis. Um,
Hmm.
and it's a like I said, a big part of the book is this like, damn, it fucking sucks to live here. It's so hot, man. It fucking blows. Like that's like a lot of the book. But it's
Hmm.
really cool as well. So, regardless, Jennifer slept here.
Yeah.
So, what I am, what I have been thinking is this very so the way that it is connected to the larger. Um, ooh, I need to change this pose. Okay, so Jennifer is a ghost. That is still true. Um, and the
Hmm.
way that it is connected to our larger universe is that she was killed as a part of a sort of ritual. I think we have texted about this, where like Mr. Smith, who is a super smart
Hmm.
ape, or I'm sorry, orangutan, yeah,
Orangutan.
he's a super smart orangutan.
That's for all. That's for all our ape heads out there. That's for all our
God,
lazy apes out
fucking
there.
no, please. NFT guys, don't listen to our show because we just roast your ass every episode. Or do listen to it and get your fucking mind right. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Or listen to it, and we'll be doing NFTs of all the drawings you see here
for
today.
sure, for
So
sure.
yeah, go ahead, yeah, go ahead and get
Yeah,
those.
I'm gonna whitelist you on our fucking bullshit. Anyway, so Mr. Smith is a super smart ape. Fuck. Orangutan, and what we had decided was that the way that he connected, at least directly to Jennifer Slept here, is that there is a secret organization trying to beat death, and in there are two main components to that. The first being physical, which is why they're conducting all of these experiments on mammals, and they are like trying to beat the aging process, which is how Mr. Smith is involved, and he is given super.
Hmm.
Sorry, I need to fix her, but he's given super intelligence, and another character, Bobo, which is from the show, is given super strength, and that's his like rival, reluctant rival. Anyway, we're not talking about
Hmm.
Mr. Smith. Um, and the other is the spiritual side, the like soul,
Ah.
right? Of like, well,
Hmm.
when you die, your soul goes to the afterlife. And so that's where Jennifer Slept here is involved, where she is killed in a ritual to beat death. Like this sort of cosmic ritual by this cult that is connected to the same scientific organization that created Mr. Smith's intelligence. So that's like the basics of
Yeah.
where she gets her powers. Um, goof. Okay, I erased the line that connects her boobs to her shirt, so this looks insane. Um, there we go. Wait, right? How would that go?
I don't know. Fortunately, she has a ghost body, so.
Well, she's floating, which is what I'm trying to. I'll explain what this scene is and why I'm doing it this way, but and then that is
Hmm.
her back, which goes up instead of the this arch. Uh, I
Ah.
maybe. Yeah, that looks better. So, um, so I've been thinking a lot about Jennifer and like kind of where some overarching things that I don't want to talk about. I'll talk about with you, of course, but not on the stream. Um, but kind of
I don't trust. I don't trust talking. If we say our ideas out loud, they're gonna get right
it's not
clicked
even that. No,
by
no,
all the
no. It's
NFT
not
guys.
that. It's that if I think the ideas are good, and I don't want to like pre-spoil our fake becoming real comic book by like
Hmm.
saying like, oh, I think the final battle should be, I think the climax should, like, I think it's all building
Yeah.
towards X. So I like this idea that she, the main like tension for her is that basically she shouldn't be there. Like she should not exist. So the secret society thinks that the ritual didn't work, and it did, and
Hmm.
she came back as Ghost. And so she has bridged the kind of gap between the afterlife and the living world. The main like, mm-hmm,
Yeah. I like how we kind of just reinvented our villains as like uh kind of like the more the more nuanced approach to like Hitler's Nazi party where like they had like they were doing stuff to like make the human body as powerful as
yes,
possible, but they also had they
yeah,
meth and and whatever, but they also had their hands in some other
yes,
occultish stuff where like they were like, hey, like just in case this is real, let's go and see if we can find these
yeah,
artifacts. I don't
yeah,
know, man. Let's see if we can't find this thing that says it'll give people like demon dog powers.
sure.
I don't know.
Just
Just to
cover all
cover
our
our
bases as
bases.
far as, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So yes, it is much like that. Um, but so I think a lot of the so there's those antagonists which are the secret society, right? But then I think there should be a kind of supernatural antagonist as well. And so it got me thinking about these like, okay, well you need to pace it well. You need to take the stakes, and you can't blow it all in the beginning, right? So I was like, okay, well, what
Hmm.
if at first she's just dealing with like kind of monsters, and then eventually we introduce a kind of like equivalent, like a another ghost that is kind of her equal, right? Um,
Hmm.
and so I thought about this idea that okay, before Jennifer comes to life or comes back from the dead, that the afterlife was this kind of just like murky void, and like spirits would die and they would go and they just become a part of this unambiguous like void. But then her, and this is like the big thing about the whole show, is like her existing is a bridge between the living world and the afterlife, right? So her
Hmm.
existing not only gives her powers, but starts to like give shape to this afterlife. So at first, you just get these kind of mist primal monsters that are very like simple because they're just the most basic kind of spirits and urges and like unfinished business that like kind of comes back to life. But then
Yeah.
as time goes on, like this whole afterlife starts to create itself, and that's where you get some of the maybe the bigger villains later. And time moves differently or whatever, so you could have the villain be like a medieval style queen or something, even if it's only been like 2 years
Okay.
for Jennifer. The afterlife is like growing and developing and turning into its own um, space, right? It's so you imagine like if the living world is white and the afterlife is black, like her existing is slowly making a gradation where there was like two solid colors. Like it's slowly gradating, and so all these monsters are coming about, and all these villains are coming from the afterlife, and she has to stop them. But also, it is clear that like she's the reason they're there. Like her existence is causing the problem, but it's her existence, so she's not gonna like die or whatever, like unmake herself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I just think it's an interesting dramatic tension where it's like,
yeah,
she is specifically the problem, because this is you're not ghosts aren't supposed to exist. Like that you die and then you go into this unambiguous void, and so as that gradation continues and it becomes more gray and more gray, and as those worlds get blended, her powers increase, so you can have like a slow kind of Steven Universe, like slow maturing of powers. But by equal token, the villains get stronger because they are also a part of this gray area. They're becoming more formed as she's just around longer, and so you can get like a real villain, a real ghost villain who like can think and plan and is clever, and it takes time, but they are getting stronger just as she is getting stronger, and as well as I think his name's Mark. I really don't remember the guy. I'm gonna delete this book because it looks like shit. Actually, it can be a good placeholder for now. Ref for Mark. So let's see how I do. Just drawing a body in perspective without reference. Why would I do this to myself?
This is good. This is good.
God. Let me see. It's pelvis. Give me a leg. Give me a leg. Give me a torso. Jesus, you look like a weird bean boy. Oh, fucking kill me. So he also is like the tension that I think is interesting between the two of them is that, and I don't quite know how this works, but the way that he like brings her to life or awakens her or whatever is through a book, something magic, right? So the tension that I like for the two of them is that she has the powers, but she can't use them without him using the book. So the way that like there is this connection between the living world and the afterlife, there is also that with her and Mark. So it's like he is also a part of this because he brought her back, and so he also can develop these sort of but he's alive, and so over time she becomes more living and he becomes more ghostly in this, not like he like gets sick and dies, but like he becomes
more goth.
He becomes more a part of this in-between zone that she starts to create, and she starts to like manifest by being alive, manifesting this this Danny Phantom zone. Yeah, actually, kind of. I mean, I guess that's kind of what I mean. Through this book or whatever.
Well.
So the last thing I'll say, the scene that I'm drawing now, I think would be a good. I can't look at this guy. Okay, would be a good starting point, like a good first frame, because I don't think we should start the comic book with the ritual. I think she should make some allusion to like.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you in this. So she's reading, right? Very inquisitive girl, reading a lot. But because she's fully... Yeah.
Is that a rug?
Because she's...
Oh.
Sorry, I'll give you a horizon line. Because she's fully a ghost and doesn't have her powers very much, it's like... It's... she can't, like, tangibly touch anything. And so, like, of course, the climax of issue 1, like, there has to be, like, some sort of fight. And so she, like, is able to use, like a force push or something. Like, she, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a good button for episode 1, is we start with she can't touch things. So Mark is turning the pages for her, which is why the book's on the ground. So she's reading, but she can't turn the pages, and so he has to sit there and turn the pages for her. And she makes some reference. He's like, "Oh, you're reading a lot." He's like, "Well, I grew up with a really religious family, and I didn't have access to a lot of books, and so now that I'm out of that, I want to, or something along those lines." But of course, we find out later that the religious family is like an insane cult, and that's why she got sacrificed. So that's where I'm at. I've talked too much, so this is where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah. I guess my questions now. I think that I mean, if we're getting into the action of things or like
Yes.
general plot points for the future of it, I think what's important is to always kind of have like a lore Bible or like what is it? Who is whatever Mark like who are Jennifer and Mark and like where does the tension of their relationship like what is that and like but I guess like the way you ask that is like who is like what is Jennifer's character like if she I because I think initially in the 1984 show I think she was like a movie star or something yeah but I guess like who is she and like how is she like up to the task of like being this bridge? Is she kind of like an unwilling participant? Is she afraid? Is she like prepared? Like where does she stand with like this very new set of
So
responsibilities?
I would say, as far as and again, this is totally, we're just bullshitting. So whatever you think, but as far as her personality, where I had gotten so far is like this very smart and inquisitive girl who is not exactly a blank slate, but is discovering a lot about the world because she was like very sheltered as a child, right? So as far as personality, I would say
Now,
very like smart and inquisitive.
hmm
When it comes to being like a hero, I think incredibly reluctant because again, there's this huge amount of
ow,
guilt from like, oh, my wife's gonna come in and get our dog. Hey, Sophie.
yibbity. Hi, Soph. I can't even see this dog. This is the
I'm
worst day of my
sorry. Well, you
life.
wouldn't be able to see him anyway because he's low down here.
We can get him.
Will I get him?
No, we can get him. He's not leaving. Just kidding. You know what?
No, just go get him. Just get him. Come on, I can't do this.
Okay. I'm gonna leave him. If he's not coming out.
Okay. Our dog's asleep, so never mind. We're not doing that.
Text me if he starts freaking out.
Okay.
He didn't want to get up, so we'll leave him in.
Love it.
The poor boy.
So,
The absolute poor, the poor dipper.
poor dipper boy. So I think reluctant and guilty because again, it's clear. I don't know how soon it's clear, but it becomes clear that the reason these bad things are happening is because she exists, right? If she was not on this plane of existence, none of these like monsters would be here hurting people. So I would say like a very guilt-driven hero complex.
Yeah, I guess. So are you kind of insinuating, oh Lord,
Oh,
that oh yeah, there she is. There she goes. That she was sheltered because her family like was preparing her for
Yes.
this ritual and okay, so she, I guess there is the secret organization that is testing on Bobo and Mr. Smith. Are they separate from the cult thing? Like it's like the organization, whatever their name is, and the cult, they're in like kind of a
I
weird
think it is.
alliance.
Yeah, it's like what you said with the
Because
Nazis. I really think that that's like that gets it on the head of like this. She is involved with the occult angle of this world domination group. Unwittingly. Her parents are, I guess.
Okay, so yeah, so her parents have found some sort of text that would have them, like probably before they had her, that would have them believe that if they had a child, they could pull off
Mm-hmm.
this thing. And yeah, so and she is like the unwilling participant of that, unknowing participant of that, I suppose. Um, and she then becomes so as far as they think the experiment is a failure, and then through some systems of shenanigans, she finds the boy, and then they start working
I
together.
think in my mind, he accidentally like summons her. So he finds the book that I don't know, the magic book that something something magic book,
Hmm.
and accidentally brings her to life, or brings her not to life, but like either like finishes the ritual or like is the reason that she's there, which is why they have their like connection, like metaphysical connection. Um,
Hmm.
pull this chin in. No, no, not that. Anyway, so yes, I mean I agree with you all the way through there. Like they believe it's a failure, they don't think it worked, and then he like finishes it, and then she does come back to life. I don't know what the other thing you said was, but yeah.
But yeah, I guess I think while we're still kind of workshopping who this is, I think there's like kind of two roads we can take with Jennifer, and that is like either A, she's an unwilling participant, and that makes her like easier to like have her be a hero, or and this is a thing that I just thought of, uh she's like a true believer, that she's
Oh,
also like super bought into it, and it is through like the failure of everything and like her finding the truth that like she becomes more of a hero. But in the
oh,
beginning she is like a total
that's a good idea.
like is a willing participant. Like
She's the
I am
chosen
this,
one.
like I am
Yeah.
what they say I yeah, I am what they say I am. And like like in a way, like she is the chosen one, but not for the like she has to kind of take her identity away from her
Right.
parents. Where at first she is her parents' daughter, like she is like a true believer, and then through her own arc, like she kind of takes her own identity, rather than like kind of being tricked into it, but rather she is like, I'm about this life. I'm the chosen
Right. And
one.
then maybe that's yeah, so she believes she's the chosen one, and then finds out and probably believes some sort of false narrative about what all this really meant and what it all was supposed to be, and then finds out like, well, no, your parents tricked you, and that blah 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 blah. Like she has to find out because obviously they're the
Hmm.
villains,
Yeah,
so
or like
you know what I mean. Like the
yeah, and it's like and yeah, and like obviously her parents are gonna be true believers up until the very end, and
well, if they're even
like
alive. I mean, I don't know when this is because the original Jennifer Slept Here is set in the 1980s, and she died in the 60s, and I think we
mm,
still have that like time jump. So
yeah,
maybe this is issue one, right, where she's figuring, and she's a true believer in issue one because she thinks X, Y, and Z is gonna happen, and then like part of it is figuring out like none of that happened. Like none of the stuff you thought would happen with your sacrifice did happen, and like it was a
yeah,
lie.
yeah.
And also, her
So
parents are
yeah,
dead.
like I yeah, I like that like she is. I like the idea of like making a character who is not necessarily. I think like kind of getting away from like a character being um, a like a little
Yeah,
prince or a little princess, but rather it's just like like yeah, like I love
yeah,
characters that are
totally.
true believers that are like I am like I do not care what I have to do to accomplish this goal. And yeah, like and when they kind of start falling away from it, it feels everything is like much
Right,
more
because they really
impactful.
cared and they really meant it.
Because it's like it's yeah, and it's like this is like this was your everything. Like this everything like you're betraying your own identity. Like you're kind of having to divorce yourself from that. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be like possibly a more interesting thing than just like someone who is like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
what
yeah,
the?
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. Okay, her head would be.
And also, I like the idea of like a little Nazi child who is
Our protagonist is a little bit of a
like
Nazi.
yeah, or yeah, just like very much like just has a wrong set of beliefs, and like when it gets into the team dynamic, like they'll have like a lot more to offer and be like thinking that they are like still kind of being like I have magical ghost powers, so to some degree I must still be the
Right.
chosen one, and like not really wanting to like work
Well, and even then,
together.
like, it could just be, chosen for what? Like, it's not even because I mean, it works. Like, it does work, and
Yeah.
because I think the idea is trying to uh, transcend death and like break the bonds, break this sort of eternal,
Hmm.
instant like travel to the afterlife. And it's like, well, I mean, for all intents and purposes,
Yeah.
it she does it. Like she does create this bridge.
Yeah, and there could yeah, and there could definitely be something where like within that little cult there is someone who is like a soothsayer or like a fortune teller who like kind of says that, but there is just like a misinterpretation where it's the like it's like one of those things that like, the fortune teller
Yeah.
is like technically right that it's like you will become like this and this and this and you'll break the bands, but it's like much like with real fortune tellers it's more about how you interpret what
Yeah.
they're saying to you rather than the actual thing they're saying. And yeah, like that like as far as she is concerned she's like
Right.
I am X, I am Y, I am destined. And then it's like you are, but not in the
Right.
way that
Yeah.
you
Yeah. It's
initially
like you're
thought you
destined.
were.
Yeah, you're destined, but like it's not. First of all, they lied to you, and so there's XYZ that you believed that wasn't true, but also, uh, you know,
I, I think, well, like, I guess did the parents, because of like their whole thing is predicated on like if they did lie or if it's like ah that didn't work. Like we had a thing and we
yeah.
also thought it would work. So like because if they lied, that would mean they just killed her just to kill her. But if it's like
Well,
we really thought
more
this
than
was
that,
going to
because I was saying
happen.
lying. I mean more like what they told her the goal was. Like she
Mm,
believes it is something noble, but actually it is something selfish and worldly. Um,
yeah, to yeah, like it's like kind of that has those vague platitudes of like
Something like
bringing
that, yeah.
order
And
or
maybe
something
like,
like that.
yeah,
Like or like yeah, like bridging like bridging the gap between two worlds to like and the only way to do that is to like I don't know whatever purify both worlds and bring them together whatever.
something, something.
Yeah.
Um,
Something. I'm gonna
Wicked.
go to the bathroom super quick.
I'm gonna keep working
BRB.
on her face. Do 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 do. Bow bow bow. he's back.
While I was gone, I was thinking about the dichotomy of the team as like when they
Yeah.
meet up together, and I was kind of thinking, yeah, like having like everyone kind of be headstrong is like the way to have like natural
Sure.
like fun character conflict where there's like Mr. Smith who is like I'm
Yeah.
Captain Science, like I'm the smartest thing in the whole wide world, so you have to listen to me. And then Jennifer is like, well, I'm like this ethereal like ghost that has like supernatural powers. And then the master and his sidekick are like two like
Right.
space cowboys, just like kind of like zipping from place to place, and they have like problems with authority as it is, but also they're both like highly like martial arts oriented people. And yeah, like how they would not want to work together all that much because they're like all what they would
Right.
consider the best
Sure.
at what they do.
Um, yeah, kind of,
Yeah.
kind of an
Anyway,
Avengers.
and then we'll have our Hawkeye and our Black Widow, whomever they are, who are
Uh,
just along
yeah,
for the
we're.
ride. They're just like, I'll do literally
I
anything.
mean, that's
Please
the
don't
that's
yell at
the
me.
the bounty hunter guys. If if you remember them, they're
The
like
bounty
the
hunter
two
guys.
teen guys who are just like who they work for a private eye. No, I'm sorry, not the bounty hunters, the private eyes. We watched like a whole episode of it.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. I thought that was the Master, but I guess it wasn't.
If
That was a
different
whole other
show,
thing.
moving a hairline.
Different show. And also, Mr. Smith is an orangutan, so maybe he's like kind of like Beast
Yeah,
from X-Men, where he is both super smart and also he's a
yeah. He can
vicious
also like
orangutan.
fuck your
So
whole shit right up.
he's he's
God,
he's got
the
that going
hair. The
for
more
him.
I like make the face closer together, the more the hair is just like far too big.
It's a 1980s hairdo. It's a 1984
Yeah, I
hairdo.
guess
I don't
that's
even know what you mean. There's no such
that's
thing.
fair. Okay. Okay, let's just give her a little bit more of a haircut. Um, okay, so
I mean, make that hair
I think the
bigger. Make it
beats
bigger.
of this first issue, right? It's like Earth versus Spiders. You have to set up the first thing in the beginning, and then that's what pays off as like the kicker at the end. Now I like the idea of her. Mhm.
Oh, so it's it's the kid in class, and it's the professor being like, the way you
A
defeat a
ghost.
ghost is
Yeah, exactly. And then they
electricity.
get two big power lines and they shock the ghost to death. No, I think the initial. Hmm?
I guess like do we meet Jennifer
I
first or do
think
we
this
meet
is
the
where we
kid
come in.
first?
Is this scene? So I think where we come in is the
Okay.
two of them. She is reading a book. Now, initially, I thought like, oh, she's reading some literature that she wasn't allowed to read. This looks nothing like Elle Fanning. God, I gotta get better at drawing. Hey, figures. I feel like I can rough out a human shape, but faces, I've not done as much work. Anyway, um, so she's reading text, and she is like, initially I thought like, oh, she's reading some book that was like forbidden before, and now she is sort of learning this stuff that she couldn't learn before. But I like your idea of her being a true believer. So perhaps what she's doing is she is trying to sort of she's reading like the Necronomicon or whatever, their holy text, and trying to figure out a way to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever to make the end of the world or whatever it is that she was sacrificed for. She's trying
Yeah.
to figure that out.
Like, because I guess like whatever she was sacrificed, like whatever she thought she was doing, she is a whole
Yeah,
other thing.
it didn't work.
And like maybe or like she is something, but not within like I like she is something greater than like the purpose she
Right.
initially set out for. Like the thing that she is not something they prepared for, but rather like a myth,
Sure.
like like an old legend, rather than like they were going for small ball, and then like she became like the whole other chosen one, but not something that her cult prepared for, but maybe
You're right,
like is
because the
somewhere
reason for the
else.
time jump is that they think it didn't work. They think the ritual didn't work and that they like
Hmm.
accidentally killed this girl or purposely killed this girl for something that didn't work, but like it did work kind of, and, but yeah, like you're saying, not like she thought. And so I think she is very like temporal. Like she is very much not temporal. She's very much like ghostly, like not solid, right? But then the
Hmm.
arc of the episode or the arc of the issue is her getting like one of her first powers being like a force push, right? So start off really light, really weak, so that you can like you don't have like power creep, so that you can like slowly build up to like really cool shit. We start really small with she can push Ghost, but again, because there's this relationship between her and the enemies, she can push these ghosts, but they're also not very strong. So they're not very strong, so it still works,
Hmm.
and she doesn't need stronger powers at the moment. So how that's
Hmm.
seeded in the very beginning is she can't turn the pages, but then by the end of the issue, like maybe the last frame, is her holding and reading a book.
Yeah. I like if there was a moment where like she pushes the ghosts and they're like
Right.
confused. Like because it's just
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like you're not supposed
Well,
to be
because
able
they
to
don't know
do
what's going
that.
on either, because they also have
Or
just come into existence.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
initially,
And you're our mom?
kind
You're
of,
our
yeah.
mom, I
And I
guess.
think initially the idea that
Yeah.
they are just these kind of beasts, like they're just kind of these. I think all of that still works, but that they're these like unthinking monsters, and they don't quite have the shape or form of like an actual person yet. Like that comes later as they get stronger. But yeah, like
Yeah.
some big shadow monster that that again the climax being she force pushes and maybe it's in like we'll go very anime and it's like in some last minute the monster is attacking Mark and she has to save him and so she like unlocks the power or whatever the way the anime do.
Unlocks the power. The way the anime do. We're gonna really My Hero Academia this.
Sorry, I'm drawing a second head so I can just sort of place it on her.
Oh, this is
Yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
her
I'm gonna
head.
try to get a more. I'm looking at you can't see this, but I'm looking at a reference for a head, and I'm drawing it so that I can sort of move it because I think my proportions are all fucked up, but I don't quite know how. So I need to have a
Hmm.
proper head so that I can then put it on there. What I should have done to begin with, I should have started with this and then um, give her a tighter jawline because Elle Fanning has a really tight jawline, and I draw these like swoopy boys.
When you're erasing a bunch, I can hear
Really, like
it. It's like, yeah.
that's weird because I have a directional microphone and it's pointed towards me, so I don't know why I would do that, but
Um, all right, do you have something on your desk that is shaken?
do you hear it now?
No, not yet. No, I do not.
Probably it's probably me with my elbow on the desk that's shaking it. That might be it.
That might be it.
And I don't know how far we'll get into this panel. I'm just kind of drawing because I didn't get a reference for the guy, which is very dumb. So now I'm like gonna just totally fly in the dark for that one. Um, but we need to get to that point, right? We have a setup. We have her and him, and we can start, because it's early on. We can start really. We can go full fucking anime. We can have them in school, and there's a monster attacking the school, right, or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I also like the idea of a kind of love interest for Mark, who fills a kind of Van Helsing role, not like the like she's hunting Jennifer, but in that like
But
she becomes
she's
part
a
of the
goth girl.
squad, and like while she doesn't have powers, can help in some sort of way. Like there's always the gadget one. There's always someone who's got the gadgets.
There's the guy in the chair.
But like a more active role, like someone who doesn't have powers, like Mark and Jennifer, but who helps out in some sort of way and is also the love interest. Maybe I'm not married to any of that, but we need an inciting incident to actually get them. We need a story, and then them fighting a monster.
Yeah. Huh. Them fighting a monster. How do we introduce a monster while also communicating that this is something that is because it is the monster is real.
100%.
It is in the physical world.
To get rid of her.
Okay, so and she can. Okay, so what is Jennifer's? She can be seen by Mark, by everyone else.
No, maybe like it's a she can choose. Like she starts with invisibility, basically, of like can be visible or not by choice. So could be visible to everyone, but often chooses not to be because people kind of flip out if there's a ghost. So, but not tangible.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think later on probably becomes more tangible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Like, yeah, definitely something where someone reaches out to shake her hand and then she's
sorry,
no.
I'm sick. I've got a cold. Oh, that's a good moment. Yeah, where someone.
Yeah.
Sure, that's a good moment.
And she has to, and definitely some things where because she can't interact with the world, it does seem like her and Mark have a very strange relationship, like always holding her stuff and /or having to open her locker for her, yada yada yada.
Okay, so but why?
And why she would be in school? Maybe it's because Mark cast the spell on her and summoned her. She is bound to him through some set of circumstances where he just wants to, he's not interested in being a hero or interested in whatever. And so he is she is bound to him, and he
I get it.
Not
There's some sort of proximity.
She's not really having any of it. Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Which is means he's always.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a good thing where. Yeah, and she's there we go. So she's reading the book because she is trying to break that.
Okay. So the reason that she's in the school is
she's
because she's around Mark. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the first thing they do is Mark being did you find anything yet? And it's just no, blah 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 blah. And they're always trying to kind of she wants to be free because she's I got bigger fish to fry. I'm the chosen one, my dude. And he wants her to be free because he doesn't want a ghost hanging around him. So he under some circumstances he has and maybe something we'll get into later, but he has in his own house he has had to get a copy of whatever their sacred text is to see if they can't find a way around it.
Which yes, okay, so that's what they're
All right, but I mean, like, but I guess like he did summon
He
her,
had it
so
already. Yeah.
he has this kind of his own thing going on. Yeah, so yeah, kind of why he has it is interesting as well, and like kind of why he would, what his direct involvement with it is.
Right. Okay. So maybe we can work out because again, we gotta feel around like how much backstory we actually want to like reveal. But I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think like definitely her past is like not something that you want to reveal
But
off the
why? But him
rip, but just
summoning
like,
her, is that like
oh,
issue 2 or is that a flashback in issue 1?
um,